summer camp at Marin Sierra. And that's because it was kind of that classic scouting experience that everyone got with the Dirtiest Camper Award, the huge lines at the kitchen, and just trying to beat the other troops at the camp. And I think that's what really got me into scouting, was that first summer camp at Marin Sierra. So.
I want to share a memory I have about a trip that I took 2 summers ago, and it's a story about my scariest moment in scouting. I went on a trip with Laird and several other boys in the troop, and we took a trip to Kings Canyon National Wilderness, which is near Yosemite, and we hiked up this mountain called Mount Goddard, which is 13,500 feet tall, and it's not feasible to backpack with harnesses and climbing ropes, so we were climbing up rock climbing style terrain over boulders, and the trip up to the top of the mountain was very difficult, and we eventually had to turn around because we were scared about thunderclouds and we didn't want to get stuck in a storm. And so we began our hike down, and that's when a classic Sierra Nevada hailstorm started, and there was terrible floods, and it was hailing and snowing, and the wind was howling, and we weren't as prepared as we should have been for rock climbing in a snowstorm. But I need to say that my good friend Laird Grant guided us down the mountain safely and very professionally. He kept a calm head, and I'll always remember that hike for being so terrifying, and I knew how wrong things could have gone. But we all had a very fun time, and we got safely down, and if you guys see the slideshow over there, you can see it's one of the most beautiful parts of the entire planet that we live on, and that's the memory I wanted to share. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to share one of my best moments in scouting. It was actually my first at the New Scout Camp out at Hay Press Camp. And just everything about it was so much fun. I was with all my friends from school, and we were just out there having a blast. Remember when we did a game called Lighthouse? We all run up this giant hill while people were trying to like spot us with a light. It was awesome, and it was my brother in a ghillie suit tackling every one of us while we're trying to get up the hill. So just the first experience in scouting in the New Scout Camp out really got me to love scouting and kept me going in it, and it was such an amazing experience, and it's what kept me in scouting.
One of my most memorable experiences of scouting was a couple years ago, back in 2011, is when I went to the World Jamboree in Sweden. And what happened was when we arrived, we just realized that scouting in Europe is not divided into 2. So that means there's girls in scouting. So when we were there, we were just walking around, and all these troops had girls in them, and we're just like, wow. This is probably one of the best summer camps we've ever been to. Only a couple of kids from Troop 1 were there. It was me, Steve Peters, Chris Vogt, and Carl Menzel were the only ones from Troop 1 there. And me personally, I thought it was actually a great experience, actually meeting scouts from other countries, not just from America, from England, Italy, Sweden, Norway. Some countries in Africa were even there too. And me personally, if anyone ever has the chance to ever at least go to visit a World Jamboree, because the next one's in 2015, it's going to be in Japan. And I suggest to you that you go visit it. And for all you scouts over there that are still in scouting and going to be in scouts in 2015, I highly recommend, if you're able to go, definitely go.
Well, my scouting memory was a 52-mile canoe trip around Catalina Island. It was a wonderful experience, actually. I mean, it was kind of full of sun and seaweed and salt water and puking all over the side of the boat. But, you know, it was a good experience because you got to spend time with my buddies. Like, I went with Forrest here, and me and him had a wonderful time on one of the days. Catalina Island is a lot of scouts know where it is. It's an island. Right, yeah, of course. So we got the breeze comes across the island. So on one side you get the wind hitting it. So it's really rough, really windy, and really cold. So the biggest day we canoed 18 miles, and we're in a big, heavy 22-foot canoe that's like this high up off the water. So naturally there's big waves, and we're surfing this thing in the waves, and he is on the side puking. And that was one of the fondest memories. Puke over the side of the canoe.
There were a lot of experiences, but I didn't know they were that rich. I'd like to call up Sam Guyton, and Sam's going to bring you something special that we do.
Now is a great time. You guys have achieved a great award, and you've had a sense of leadership, a sense of your own personal accomplishment. But you have to understand this is a big society of Eagle Scouts. It's a very special brotherhood. And to kind of reinforce that, I'd like to call all the Eagle Scouts that are in the audience, if you're in uniform or not, if you could please come up. And we're going to go through and say when you got your Eagle Scout, where, and your quick announcement of your name, please. On up right up here.
Oldest
Just line up
which way,
right here.
Sam? Youngest down there, oldest here, what?
That's so confusing. Let's just line up.
Just line up.
I don't want to slow down.
Get up here, CJ.
We gotta go in a way.
Stay here.
Older down there.
Just line up.
73. 62.
61, rather. 61. I'm 84.